How you doing, everybody? This is David W. Williams, also known as Diamond Dave, and I'm glad you're attending this particular show today. And what I want to bring to you is a special guest, and what we're going to talk about is why women need to build muscles. And the reason why I wanted to bring this particular discussion to the audience is because we spend a lot of times on this platform talking about the markets. We spend a lot of times talking about how to make money, how to be successful financially. But what I wanted to make sure we did this year and going into the next year is start integrating the health aspect, because we understand that if you don't have the health, if you don't have the well-being as far as with your body and with your health, it doesn't matter what you build from a monetary standpoint, because essentially what you're going to do is you're going to lose it all trying to get your health back. And so what I want to continue to do as we go more and more into the end of the year, but also the top of the year, is bringing more people to have expertise and have experience in helping people accomplish their health and fitness goals. So we have Coach Nesi to talk about why women need to build muscles. And the reason why I wanted to bring her on is because she posted something on her social media about it being a little bit of controversy about women doing weight training. And I thought that she could bring a really, really interesting perspective to that particular conversation, because what I don't want is women to get left out of accomplishing their health and fitness goals, having a lot of health issues as they get older and older into age, because they haven't focused on that, because they felt like maybe it wasn't feminine, maybe it wasn't appealing, or maybe it wasn't attractive. So Coach Nesi, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Mr. Dave. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm really glad you was able to come on today.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
No problem. No problem. So let's get right into it. So what I want to do is kind of introduce you to the audience. So we know your name, but can you give us a little bit of understanding of, what business you're involved in and what you do in the health and fitness space?
Well, again, yes, my name is Shanicia Ewing, and I am the owner and founder of Uncovering the New You. Uncovering the New You is a fitness transformation company that utilizes physical fitness to uncover the root of our struggles and our health and wellness, to really discover where we want to be and how do we get there, and then recover the person that we either desire to be or the person that we once were, after we have found so many things going wrong in our lives, or we have just taken on so much more. And we really focus on utilizing this through fitness and transformation.
Okay. And so let me ask you, because I've been connecting you on social media for a few years, and I've always known you to be very much in shape, to be very much a proponent of health and fitness. How did you get involved in the health and fitness space?
So two reasons. Currently I'm a U.S. Army drill sergeant.
Okay.
And then on the second phase, I was a homeless pregnant mom. On the one side, at the time I was deployed in Iraq, and I was helping some soldiers to get ready for the what we used to have called the Army Physical Fitness Test. And in that test, they were just struggling, being outside, being in theater is what we call it when we were in Iraq. And I taught a spin class over there, and my soldiers were like, listen, Sergeant Hopkins at the time, they said, you really, really need, to become a personal trainer. And I'm like, what do you mean? And at the time I volunteered for this specific mission, simply because I was a homeless pregnant mom and I did not know where to go. Right. I had a lot of education, but not a lot of experience. And I needed to be able to feed my son quickly. So between getting my certification overseas and then also too, knowing why I did it. So I took what I love to do most, which is exercise, fitness. That's a part of my career. That's what keeps us going. And then also too, just trying to find another way and another outlet for me to be able to bring in some extra money and being able to provide for me and my son at the time.
Okay, so you talked about enjoying the exercise, and that's something that we may have in common, because I also enjoy exercise and being often. So what about exercise do you really enjoy? Like, what about it is enjoyable to you?
So, I have many parts of my life. This is, I know you're like, well, she's all over the place. Well, fitness saved my life in many places. I dealt with depression for a while. And when I say for a while is because it was taking over my life. We never really get over depression. We learn how to work around it and work through it, those circumstances. And fitness was an outlet for me, being able to just go walking, because I didn't have the money for gym memberships, but being able to realize what the aftermath of exercise did for me. It provided me clarity, especially when I did, I used to love HIIT training, high intensity interval training. That was one of my favorites. But the way it made me feel afterwards. And so, over time, it just made me feel good right after the math, getting weight. I didn't have to talk to nobody. I didn't have to fuss with no one. I would leave all my anger with the weights or in that particular workout. So the way it made me feel ultimately was really where it really kind of gravitated to me the most. And then also too, the way it made me look. I always had some body image issues, right? Starting from high school all the way up. And the military puts a heavy presence on our image, on what we look like in uniform. And so dealing with that, I realized that if you want to change, you can through exercise. You really have to just put in the work, be consistent, and find what works for you. So, it kind of tackled a lot of things when it came down to my body.
Okay, I understand that. And so you being very enthusiastic, but what made you so passionate about it that you decided that you wanted to help other people achieve their lifestyle goals? So I understand, like me, I work out a lot, I'm very active, but I don't want to teach other people how to do it. What made you decide that you wanted to be so passionate about it? You said, well, let me try to help other people achieve some of their lifestyle goals through health and fitness.
Again, fitness saved my life. You
Okay.
understand what I'm saying? Fitness saved my life. And when I started training other people, because I started with 1 5-pound weight, and I was only charging, people $35 a month. You know what I mean? Like, and that was only just a way for me to get some gas money to get to work, or, just a meal for me and my son. It was really small. And one lady who constantly kept calling me and calling me and calling me and said, Nesi, I know you don't have all of the resources, because I had nothing, no building, no structure, nothing. All I had was a few weights that I was buying, from, Goodwill. I was utilizing secondary resources to get these weights. And she kept calling me and saying, Nisi, I need you. You're great. Your energy is good. You're really helping me take back my life. And at this time, she's over 400 pounds. She has 6 kids, and she just needs to do something. And that activity and that connection. And she says, you really got to give for this. And you don't give that up. Even, and now today she's 197 pounds, right? So that right there started it. And then I have another client that I later met up with. She was a 2-time breast cancer survivor. She almost lost her life, and she and I were working together. And when I was able to help her again lose this, and again, she was really like maybe out of 1 or 2 clients that I had, both of us in the military. She's like, I really want to get me back, because I don't like myself right now. And when I was able to help her lose over 75 pounds, she had an amazing husband who was by her side, amazing children. And then on top of that, she was really in tune with me. And she loved, again, that energy, that same thing from the very first client. So it came from my clients, the people that I'm working with, on how I made them feel. And I remember how exercise made me feel. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so through life-changing stories and transformations with my clients, all of these things became what I needed to keep going and to truly make this what I'm supposed to do. Because I had all the other things that I wanted to do: go to law school, go back to medical school, I've got my doctorate, all sorts of things. But this is where I want to be. This is where my heart is, helping other people to take back their confidence, their life, their quality, enhance the quality of their life, and just build from there.
Okay. And so now let's talk about some of the challenges that a lot of women may have in going to the gym and actually, working on building muscle. So we're going to talk about the 4 objections. We're going to break them down 1 through 4.
Okay.
And so one of the things that I experience, because I spend a lot of time in the gym and working out, is that I see a lot of women that are really in good shape, or that work out on a regular basis. Because one thing about, if you go to a gym, you start to see the same people over and over again.
Right.
But I think a lot of women, especially, they may have a objection to working out because they may not really understand what it's going to bring, things of that nature. And I may not know as much about their objections as you. So let's go about, what are some of the objections? Let's start with number 1. So what do you think one objection would be to a woman going and working out and trying to, improve on her health and fitness?
I don't have time.
Okay.
Most women are mothers. Most women are wives or spouses, and they have their job, and they feel guilty about taking 30 minutes, an hour away from their children, away from their spouse, away from their home. Like the dishes are going to get up and walk, like the laundry is going to get up and walk. They feel guilty about being able to take that time. And so for them, they don't have enough time to make for themselves.
Okay. So then, what we think would be objection number 2?
It takes too long,
Okay.
right? For change. Change is hard for people, especially when they've been a certain way all their life. And knowing that they have to break the habits, they have to be consistent with building newer habits. Well, actually, go back to step two is understanding what new habits they need to gain. That third one is now building a consistent pattern with the new habits and then start seeing the changes. People want change automatically. They want that instant gratification, which ultimately deters people because they'll see one thing, you can do beside photos. They'll see it and they won't see any changes, like nothing's happening, but they don't realize energy has changed, sleep has changed, the way they're eating, how much they're eating, where they're eating, like those things change and they don't see those small changes. They want to see the bigger picture. So a lot of times they say it takes too long.
Okay. Okay. So we understood time. It takes too long. So what do you think objection number 3 would be?
I don't like lifting weights.
Okay.
Many women say all the time, I don't want to be muscular. Women genetically, you can't look like a man, right? Unless you're taking something over, you know what I mean? That's not over the counter. And genetically, we are not going to be as strong or powerful either. We can be very strong. We can, go out here and lift, a few pounds, but there's always going to be a man who could do a little bit more. And the thing about it is women don't realize that lifting weights keeps our girls up. It helps us tone, get rid of the extra dimples and get rid of the cellulite. It helps to get rid of the fat around our heart. It helps to speed up our energy levels. It helps to burn fat. It helps to tighten up that loose skin. Like there are so many benefits to lifting weights. And then again, no one told you had to lift 500 pounds. No one told you even had to lift 50. What you want to do and what you desire to do can be done with a 10 or 15 pound weight.
Okay. And so we talked about women not really wanting to lift weights. And then what do you think objection number 4 would be?
I don't like to eat. So I eat 6 meals a day. And most of my clients say that's way too much. My portion sizes are small. You understand? And so a lot of them say they rather sit down, have a meal, and they go on about their business and they forget to eat, right? That forgetting piece. And oftentimes they'll sit around and they'll just say, I don't want to eat that. I don't want to eat the same things over again. I want something different. So, it's not necessarily I don't like to eat. I don't like to eat the healthy foods, whatever they want to consider that.
Yes, ma'am. And so let's go back through the objections and how you've been successful in overcoming those objections to get that particular client to understand what they need to do to accomplish their goals. So with the first objection of time, how would you normally try to overcome that objection? I
tell my clients, you got 1,440 minutes a day.
Okay.
Right. And in those minutes, it's the desire, what you desire to do. Now you tell me how long are you on social media daily? How long do you watch the news and how, watching the stories, Love and Hip Hop, all these other, stories that are out here. You know what I mean? How do you get out here and you waste your time here when you could be giving yourself 30 to 40 minutes, even 15 to start? And I break it down on what their life could look like if they would just simply add in a 30 to 45 minute workout at least 3 to 4 times a week, and getting outside, what that would look like. And so when I break down their day-to-day lifestyle, even if you're working 1 or 2 different jobs, getting up and moving around, the activities. And so it's going to be based individually, of course, right? But I break down their lifestyle and I show them where they actually have the time and making that commitment to their health, right? Versus looking at, TV or scrolling social media.
Yeah, definitely. And, one of the things that you talked about is that I think the American Heart Association encourages, I think it's 150 minutes of exercise per week, just as a baseline.
Yes.
From your experience, do you see people getting in at least that 150 baseline of exercise per week? Okay.
No.
Okay. And you think you think that's because they feel like they don't have the time to fit that into their regular schedule?
Yeah, people look at it as a constraint. So, again, when people factor in, I used to live in the DMV, right?
Okay.
I live in Atlanta now and the traffic is horrible. But when I used to live in the DMV, I could work here. My base was here and my house was here. It would take me about 45 minutes just to get from here to here, literally in that distance. I could walk to work if I wanted to, right? Most times I did because it was quicker. It was a 15, 20 minute walk versus 45 minutes here. right? And a lot of times people see that as a challenge, like, oh God, I got to sit in traffic, I got to go get gas, I got to do this, and they make up all of these excuses of why I'm not going to fix my gym bag at night, I'm not going to do this, and I'm just going to go home, I'm tired. They're not really tired physically, they're tired of work, they want to decompress, but their decompression is not exercise, it's watching the news, watching the stories, scrolling on Facebook, and then they order out from DoorDash.
Yeah, you're right about that. Okay. Now, with that second objection being, it takes too long to see change. What would you say to try to overcome that particular objection?
You didn't get here overnight.
Okay.
Right? Your change didn't come overnight. I mean, your weight loss, your weight gain didn't come overnight. Your struggles and your behaviors didn't come overnight. Let's be real, right? Just like that job you wanted, the job that you have right now. The biggest thing was for you to get the education to get the job or to develop the skill. But then you couldn't go and get the top tier position. You couldn't apply for that because you had to serve your time. You had to come in. You got to show that you're worthy of the promotion, worthy of that next position. That took time. And then you still didn't get that pay raise because you still had to put in the skin in the game. So you coming in day one was not going to get you the same pay that somebody has been there for 10 years. So the same thing with your health. You go into the gym, day after day for about 2 weeks, and you're like, oh, I don't see no changes. Well, did you change your sleep? Did you change how much water you're drinking? Did you change your activity level? Did you go to the gym to just take your selfies and go on? Did you actually push? I start asking those realistic questions and accountability, right? It's the deal. It's not going to happen overnight. You've got to be real with yourself. Your body is like science. And if you don't know what you're doing, making the basic changes are going to give you basic results. When you're looking for those extreme changes, that's where you need to be more specific. That's where you need to gain a little bit more knowledge and being able to get over the basics and the fundamentals, right? Basic stuff will give you basic education. Just like knowing the basic for your job is going to give you a basic pay.
Okay. And so I want to kind of get you to expand on that, because one of the things we see in health and fitness is the 90-day plans, the 90-day programs, where it's very short term to get to short term result. Here's how to lose this many pounds in this amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we think so many people are attracted to going on a 90-day run just to lose the pounds, but there's really not a long-term program that's part of that particular weight loss? So once they lose the 90 pounds, they feel like they've accomplished their goal.
Well, because it's quick and then
Okay.
there's not a lot of changes. A lot of people are afraid of change. I mean, let's be real. A lot of people don't like to change. A lot of people don't like to give up the things that they have been doing for 15, plus years. A lot of people don't, right? But the thing is that they can get their summer body, right? Whatever they like, or get to a lower weight. They're okay with that, but not looking at, guess what? Once you go on your little vacation and you go and you eat and you drink and you turn up and have a good time, guess what's going to come back? All the weight, maybe some, after that 90 days, because you change no behaviors, you change no system, you change no consistent pattern. You never develop a consistent pattern. So, a lot of people look at it because it's quick, right? It's usually easy. You're following a meal plan, that's consistent. You learn a few exercises and boom, you get your, get some type of result within the first 90 days.
Okay. I feel you. Okay. So with objection 4 being, I don't like to eat. And you talked about you eating multiple meals per day, but very small meals. What do you say to overcome that particular objection?
So I show people what the portion sizes are.
Okay.
I use almonds, right? My clients know, they like, why are you eating 12 almonds, coach? Like, really, 12 is not enough to fill you up. And I said, it really is, because that's a serving size. When we go into the grocery store and you think about it, or just even the convenience store, we need a little snack. Think about that pack of almonds that you purchase, right? And they usually say it's about maybe 2 or 3 servings.
Okay.
And we start doing this, shaking up the almonds. Next thing you know, the whole bag is gone. That entire bag, right? When we start looking at the total amount of calories, we look at it, it says 120 calories. That's per serving. And then when I show them and break this down, that they're actually eating against what they're trying to do. You eat that whole bag, you just ate 240 calories. Then it says 7 grams of fat per serving. That's 14 grams of fat that you just digested. 520 milligrams of sodium. That's 1,040 right there that you have just ingested. Right? People don't look at that. They don't take time. They just know that they're hungry. So instead of eating large meals where you're consuming most of the time bad foods, your macaronis, your noodles, your pastas, you're looking at your ribs, you eat tons and tons of that, not understanding that the serving sizes in the United States are overly heavy. They're heavy. You're eating about 2 to 3 serving sizes usually when you order from fast food to go to a restaurant. There's very few restaurants, unless you pay high end, to actually get the proper portion size. And so I teach my clients what a small serving size looks like, because it's not a lot of food, but it's enough for you to eat right what you're doing. And then another 2 to 3 hours, there you go, you eat another small meal, and you eat another small meal afterwards. So that small meal helps to not only shrink the gut, but it also helps you to control those cravings. It also helps you to control the amount of snacking that you're doing in between, because now within that 2 to 3 hours between the water that you're consuming and then the food that you just ate that's good, not heavy in sauces, greases, oils, and fat. You're eating good, clean food in a plate. 2 to 3 hours, you're going to have something else, and that's going to fill you back up and cut what you're eating. So I show my clients exactly on how to eat, right? What that portion size looks like, what is right for them. And so, when you say you don't like to eat the same foods, which is fine, because, I'm a creature of habit. Let's spice it up. Learn to cook your own foods, right? And then you'll be able to celebrate at the end of the week with something that you enjoy, lightly though, with one meal, So I have a balance there. You got to find your balance with that.
Okay. And so I wanted to ask you, because you kind of talked on that in your explanation, is that what would you suggest a person does to deal with a lot of their food cravings? Because one of the things that we do growing up is we a lot of times attach emotional fulfillment to our food.
Yes.
And so often we can be feeling bad about something, be feeling depressed, and we believe that the food item, a lot of times because of how it's composed, is going to make us feel better. And a lot of times how we get this relationship with eating bad food. How do we work with people to where they don't attach, I feel good because I've been able to eat this piece of food, even though that piece of food may be negative to my health?
So this is going to be individual.
Okay.
I am a transformation coach, and it runs in the line of me really getting to the root of that problem, right?
Okay.
That's, understanding where that emotional attachment comes from.
Exactly.
Let's just say one of my clients loves cake. She loves key lime pie. One of the things about that key lime pie that she's attached to was something that her mother made. And I said, okay, well, here, let's do this, and then you can have that, right? But then we look at it like we're not taking it away. Right? Because being stripped of something is a negative connotation, like somebody's taking something away. And it's not a good feeling to feel like you're being restricted. I don't like diets. I don't do diets. Like, that's for me. I don't do it. Right? And so my thing is moderation and balance. So I said to her, we've got a goal though. Right? We reviewed on how she felt about herself. We reviewed on what her goals look like. And I said, well, if you give me, 2 weeks of good, consistent working out. She worked out at the time 3 days a week, and then she went outside for her cardio 2 days. And on Saturdays and Sundays were her rest days. We looked at that, evaluated that, and then we said, okay, in that third week, that weekend that you go out, you can have your key lime pie, because that was a reward for the consistency that she was giving herself. And she noticed that with that consistency, she was able to change her mindset. She don't need that pie every week. She doesn't need that. Her body didn't crave it. Right? But she was thinking about it, but because we know what it's attached to, but we didn't take it away.
Okay.
So, Talina, yes, it is mindset, my girl. It is a lot of that mindset. Is you have to change your mindset and your connection to the food, but you got to get down to the root of where that food comes from. When it's connected to our childhood and we miss those parts of our childhood, or we miss the family member that made it, we sometimes want to overeat it, feeling like we're keeping them close, right? And that, again, it's individual, because some of the food is attached to trauma also. And I'm not a licensed therapist. Even though I have my doctorate in the field of psychology, I am not licensed yet. So what I do as a coach is I build up that connection for them to take that to the therapist, building up that understanding of where they are, and being able to say, if I do this, then I can have that, which is like a reward system.
Okay. Okay. I
Yeah,
really appreciate you giving that. Okay.
yeah, for sure.
Yes, ma'am. Now let's talk about what are some of the tips that you can help give to people uh to not lose their gains that they've worked so hard for, especially as we still getting ready to roll into the end of the year where everybody starts eating a lot of food.
So you know what, when it comes down to the holidays,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
My thing is this: enjoy your food, right? But balance it out. What, for me, I'm a family person. I love family. That's the whole reason of why I celebrate the holidays, is because I get to see family that I don't get to see on a normal. I am a working mom. I run my business. I'm in the military. I still got my own individual responsibilities and goals. So, for me, I'm realistic. I'm not going to sit here and tell you not to have that cake or pie. I'm not going to sit here and tell you don't go and eat turkey and ham and the collard green. I'm not going to tell you not to do that. But I am going to tell you it's to balance it out. What is the purpose of turning up, getting drunk? What is the purpose of overeating? And then you sit on the couch and you sleep when Thanksgiving and Christmas is supposed to be holidays that you spend with your family and your time. How do you get through that, right? Without going to sleep? You don't. So what I say is bring your portion plate. All my clients got a portion plate. Get your portions and enjoy and let that be. Now, if you get a little hungry, then now you go into your portion sizes, get a little bit of this, get a little bit of that, and then we go from there. Don't deny yourself, but don't overdo it. Don't go and get 4 grandma's biscuits. Get your one, enjoy it, and remember that Thanksgiving is only a day. You understand what I'm saying? Christmas is only a day. The new year is only a day. You still got to deal with the health issues, the high blood pressure, the cholesterol, the lack of self-confidence tomorrow. Don't overeat today because you can. So balance it out. Enjoy yourself. Spend time with your family and go from there. That would be one approach to that. The second approach that I would tell my clients is ask yourself, really, what are you missing? For me, I love my mother's chicken. Oh my God, my mother seems like on Thanksgiving, she put a little extra something in the fried chicken. And I don't eat fried foods a lot, and so for me, that's what I'm looking forward to. So if that's what I want, that's what I'm going to indulge in, meaning I'm going to have maybe 2 or 3 pieces, and that's going to be it. I'm not going to have the cake. I'm not going to have my grandmother's German chocolate cake. I'm not going to have the sweet potato pie. I'm not going to have those things because I understand what my goals are and how to balance. That's going to be it. You can figure out what it is that you're missing and what you're looking forward to. And that is what your plate will be consistent of versus having a little bit of every single thing, being able to portion those things out. And then 2, again, I said it before, it's only a day. It's only a day, and if you're willing to risk all your gains and your goals for the holidays, then imagine what you have been doing for the last 15, 20 years of your life.
Okay. Okay. Now let's expand on that, because one of the things that we see, and I know that we have an audience of people that are really committed, but then we have the people that maybe have challenges with that.
Yeah.
So a person to say, well, I'm trying to, and one of the questions we ask kind of references that. I'm not trying to pick on the person in the audience, but I'm trying to use this as an example.
Yeah.
So they may have a fitness goal to get to this point. And then once they get to that point, they figure I've met my goal, and then they stop working out. And so how do we help that person to understand how not to lose everything? Because you say, well, I want to lose 20 pounds, but then once you lose 20 pounds, you stop doing what it took to lose the 20 pounds.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
You know what? It's always going to be consistency is the key.
Okay.
Right. And I always use the job because the job is what gives us the ability to be thrown out, go on vacation, take our children out, pay for the things that we need to pay. If you stop learning, right, you get into a job and your base pay is $13. Are you going to stop working there because you make $13? Are you going to stop there at 13? You're going to evaluate, am I able to pay my bills? What am I lacking in? How late am I? Am I working from check to check? You're going to evaluate those things. And I always go back. Then when I go back to fitness, I say, well, hey, listen, how about this? If you worked out 5 days a week and you got to this goal and you had to work day in and day out, what do you think you have to do to maintain this or keep or to continue on? The same thing. You're going to have to put the skin in the game. Now, could you go from 5 days to 3 days? Absolutely. But that just means you got to be even more intentional about what your workouts look like, right? Because I used to work out 6 days a week, but I don't have to, right? I can work out 3 or 4 days a week and be okay with it. But in order to get to my optimal level, my 6 days are going to be required, right? Based on my program. And so it's a reminder to them that even if you stop, you're going to be right back where you were, because your body's not going to change by itself. You get older every year, right? You know, your day-to-day doesn't look the same. You might have emergencies here. You might have emergencies there. You might got some, promotions coming up. You might got school coming up. Your day-to-day doesn't look the same. Your sleep pattern is not the same. So what makes you think if you stop right here at this 20 pounds that you're going to stay the same and not gain that weight back? So you have to make it realistic to their reality, because a lot of people do stop. They stop, they got to their goal, but then they realize, geez, that weight came back quickly as soon as you started to eat and go back to the same habits. Bad habits will always follow you if you're not consistent with the good ones.
Okay. So let me ask you, and this is something that I noticed because I work out a lot. So go to the gym on a regular basis. Also will go to the gym usually the same time every day because of my work schedule.
Right.
And what I would notice is that I would always see the same people in there at the same time. So what do you think is the difference between the mindset of a person that decides to just be consistent with their workout and the mindset of a person that I might work out 6 months and then take off 6 months. Next year, I might work out 3 months. And then we know, because I know the fitness space, is that a lot of people after the holidays decide it's time to work out. That slacks off as we get later into the year. Then they pick up again at the top of the year and they kind of stay on that schedule. What do you think is the difference between the mindset of those two types of people?
The value of their health, right? Okay. One of the biggest things that I realized when it comes down to that is that there's a lot of people who never exercise. There's a lot of people who never really put in, for me, I'm an athlete. I started at the age of 3. I was bred into working out. My brother was a football player. My mom played softball. I was around it. There are some people out here who've never played sports, who've never done anything. And you get into a place where you become uncomfortable and you don't know how to change it. And when you get introduced to exercise, it hurts. It's uncomfortable. You're doing uncomfortable things. Like those things in general will cause a person to have that mindset, because when it hurts, they stop. When they don't see what they want to see, it stops. You got to learn the condition. A lot of my clients, have been with me for over 2 to 3 years. Because of that conditioning. You've got to condition the mind just as much as you've got to condition the body. And a lot of times a person has to see the process and understand the process. And this is why good trainers are needed out here. Good people who are educated, people who are willing to have patience, willing to teach, and willing to pour into their clients, just like I'm doing right now. Being able to explain that it's not easy. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I've never experienced the heavy side, but I experienced after having my son going from 164 pounds to 126. I was in kids' clothes. I've never been that small. You understand what I'm saying? And so, with me having that factor, I don't tell my clients, oh, I know exactly what you feel, or who've been on the heavy side, but it was a struggle for me to even gain a pound for 4 years. I ate everything in the book and I wouldn't do it. But it was the way I was doing it. But when I did gain the weight back, I gained it back. I was 39% body fat and at 140. So, it's conditioning. Because I did it the wrong way, I gained it back and didn't look the same. And I didn't like it. I almost risked my career doing that. And a lot of times people have to see that. They've got to experience that bad. They've got to experience the hardships. They got to experience those things in order to kind of be nourished into changing their mindset. Changing your mindset is one of the hardest things anyone can do.
Okay. So let me ask you something. And we're going to keep adding on, but I want to kind of reference something you talked about.
Oh, yeah. Keep going.
Yes, ma'am. So when I had got a trainer one time and we started working out, he hit me with a lot of volume on the first workout.
Ooh,
now, because I grew up playing a lot of sports, I wasn't going to say, well, no, it's too much. I'm just going to do it because you told me to do it.
Yeah.
because that's how I was raised. But for a person that you're working out with, how do you try to look at programming their volume and their intensity when you first start working out with them? Because he didn't know I could take that kind of volume, even though I could.
Yeah.
But how do you kind of work with that? Because what some people could probably do is get scared away from the intensity and the volume and feel like, well, I can't work out because it's too much.
Well, listen, I get that all the time because people think that I do. So,
Okay.
one thing is I do a fitness test,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
And we go from the 2 pounds all the way up to the 25, 30, 40 pounds. A lot of my clients, they don't make it past the 20. So for me, I stop right there and I say, all right, this is where we're going to start with the 10 pounds. We'll build up to the 25, especially when I know they struggle, right?
Okay.
I'm not coming in and throwing, 25, 30-pound weights. I would have injured plenty of my clients already. And I'm not doing that.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
we start low and we build up. So anytime that you get somebody that's just throwing volume at you, that's the time to run. That's the time to run. I mean, there's no way that you can tell me that I can lift 300 pounds just by looking at me. You've got to give a fitness test, see what they can do. And in their first couple of workouts, we start working with different weights. And when you notice they struggle, take that weight down and help them build up to that. And a lot of people see that. People ought to make a mistake from those bad training styles. No, that's definitely not welcome at all, because that's going to lead to injury and discouragement.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Okay, so then let's talk about your ideal client. So how would you describe your ideal client that you normally like to work with that works good? Because every fitness person that works in the space has different ideal clients. So how would you normally describe your ideal client, the person that would best benefit from what you bring to the table?
So for me, most of my clients, I'm going to use the majority of them because I do have a few outliers, right?
Okay.
Most of them are looking to lose 15 or more pounds, right? That's the main thing. They want to lose weight. They're not looking for maintenance. They're not looking for balance. But they're looking to lose 15 or more pounds. They are over the age of 35. Because at that point in 35 is when your body starts to do a lot of different things. You start to feel a little bit, unless you're an athlete. And then that's where my outliers come in, because around that age 30, 25, 30, if you're an athlete, you start to feel it and know exactly how your body's going to feel later. And then they struggle with balance. Most of the women that I work with, and men, their mothers, their husbands, they have been working all of their lives. They've raised their children, grandchildren, some great grandchildren, and they're looking for convenience. They're looking for something that's at home, because 95% of my clients are virtual. They're global. The furthest out is Ukraine, right? They enjoy change, but they despise the process, right? And when I say that, is that they want to change. They know what they want to look like, but the process is what gets them that consistency. So they need that help building consistency. My clients are mobile, meaning that they don't mind going to the gym. They don't want to, but they don't mind. They don't mind going to the gym. They'd rather be at home, but again, like I said, they don't mind. And they love support, right? That's one of the biggest things. People that they don't mind being accounted for, because they call me the warden because I'm super accountable. I'm going to call you and say, why didn't you log your workout today? We're going to talk about that. Not a yell, not a scream, but why didn't you do that? Well, I was too busy. Well, let's log it. I don't get it the next time. Tell me why, and we talk about that, because that accountability helps me to help them to be accountable for their individual action, their individual process, their individual decision-making in their health and wellness, right? And so we talk about it, and some of them are dealing with things at home. We walk through those processes and whatnot. So, yeah.
Okay. So let me ask you another question. Why do you think women, I wouldn't say all women, but some women got the idea that lifting weights isn't something that they should be involved in, that actually touching a weight, pushing iron is not something that they should do?
It's because it's going to be the media. Okay. You get these women out here, who lie about, what they look like. the women out here who are using drugs, steroids, and are not telling, the honest truth. They look at the mishaps, all the crazy things that people are doing on TikTok, like, and Instagram and Facebook. Like, it's a disaster to break those stereotypes. But my thing is this. Let me share this little story with you.
Yes, ma'am.
So I was 16 when I was first sexually assaulted. Lena in the comments brought this up, and I wanted to make sure that I said this. I was 16 and I was a very, very small girl. I was well endowed, but I did not have a lot of strength because I didn't lift weights at the time. But I was sexually assaulted, and I later lost a child, in that process. And I used to always feel if I could have had the strength to fight off, then I would. Well, I'm also a survivor of military sexual trauma where I had the strength to fight off my assailant. I had the strength to fight off, that big guy that he was. I've had, I'm a survivor of domestic violence. I had the strength. A lot of us women walk around here and we want to be cute. We want to, and there's nothing wrong with that. But we don't want to be strong. We want the males to lift the bags and do all this other kind of stuff. And I'm not against feminism, and I'm not against that softness. But we women got to learn to protect ourselves. I'm not into walking around carrying, being lit all the time with something on my waist. I am not that violent a person. But when something happens to me, I'm going to give you a run for my money. And lifting weights in general, I don't lift heavy, right? I don't lift heavy at all. 20 to 25 pounds, I'm good with that. Right. And I'm not saying that you have to be, but just being able to know that I was able to protect myself off an assailant, not once, but twice. That right there speaks volumes of why weightlifting is important. You can't naturally gain that strength by lifting grocery bags and maybe lifting a box and lifting a baby. You can't. In this world today, you've got to protect yourself at all costs. And sometimes, just knowing that you're able in general to be able to handle yourself and take care of yourself, that right there in itself is already a game changer. But I'm about to be 38 years old. You understand? Excuse me, I lied. 39. Lord. But but I'm about to be 39. I don't look like it. And I'm still outdoing some of these 20-year-olds out here in the military. They can't run faster than me. They can't, this right here just sets me apart from my peers as a senior non-commissioned officer and as a drill sergeant in the Army. It's a part of respect that you get as well. You know what I'm saying? For yourself. And to know that you're stepping in your own good health and your own good wellness. And I think that, when we out here and we're not lacking anything when it comes down to how we feel about ourselves. It gives you so much energy. I've been up since 4. I ain't took no nap today. You would think I had tons of coffee and energy drinks. Have nothing. This is all from good food, good exercise, and doing what I do best. So ladies, when I tell you that lifting weights gives you more than just the muscles, it gives you everything that you're looking for. It tones and tightens. It builds, that endurance, that metabolism that you're looking for, that drive. So you're not sucking down the sodas and the coffees and the energy drinks every now and then. You're getting good sleep at night. You're not tossing and turning. You're not snoring like Yogi the Bear. Like, there's so many benefits that weightlifting offers you, and it offers your body. You're taking yourself out of the numbers of the American Heart Association. You're taking yourself out of the numbers out of those who've got arthritis, who've got high cholesterol, high blood pressure. You're taking yourself out of those numbers with lifting weights. Cardio can help, but it doesn't do the trick. Your weightlifting and your cardio is what's going to get you to where you need to be. So there are various numbers of reasons and that I can sit here and go on and on about on why lifting weight is important. And mind you, my oldest client is 76 years old, and her doctor said to her, the best thing that she could have done to herself was get with me, simply because we're keeping her health situations at bay. They're not exacerbating, and she looks good, and she's still confident about herself and still feeling gracious, about who she is, not with the saggy skin, not with the, the excess, but she feels good. 76 and still rocking with me. Oh, we doing something. So, so that's my little spiel on weightlifting, because ladies, it sucks. It sucks when I hear, those types of things, and I see it. I hear what people say. I don't want to look like a man. I don't want to do this. Baby, you can't. You can't. Realistically, you can't. Right? You know what I'm saying? But you complaining that you want to go get surgery on your arms, your legs, your back. You want to get this removed, that removed. Why are you going to pay all that money to do that when you could do it yourself and use that money to buy your new clothes when you go out of the country? Come on now.
Okay, I understand.
All right,
okay,
what about my little trainer spiel?
No, it's good. So now I want to ask you some questions about the industry. Just 2 quick questions, right?
Yeah, sure.
So something I noticed, because I'm on Instagram a lot and I follow a lot of fitness people on Instagram. And what I've noticed is a lot of the workouts are very, to me, over the top. And one thing because I grew up playing sports, is I got programmed to do very basic workouts. And you just do the same basic workouts over and over and over again. You just try to improve your performance over those workouts. You try to build the base of your pyramid and work up. But one thing I noticed is a lot of the workouts are just really over the top, a lot of really crazy plyometrics, a lot of really crazy, workout moves. Why do we think, or why do you think those are so famous in the online fitness spaces?
Just the same way as fitness has become so sexualized.
Okay.
Right? It's entertaining. It gives people like, ooh, oh my God, I would never do that. Right? They don't understand the fundamentals and the basics. Somewhere or another that got lost, which is where, I come in. I'm the fundamentals. I'm the basic kind of person. And, as Drop 16 TV said, the marketing, it's everywhere. I think that the over the top is what's getting people injured, and a lot of people are not connecting those dots. I like basics. Give me the basics, because the basics is what's going to save your life in the end. The basics is going to be where the normal person starts from. Now, if you're able to do all the extra stuff on the top, yeah, it's entertaining, but make sure you let them know it took you a long time to get there. It took you a long time to do that. And it's only for entertainment purposes, but they won't do that.
Okay, I feel you. Okay. And then the last question I want to ask you is that, let's say they're a fitness professional, mm-hmm. and they want to create a business, but because so many people are doing, a lot of people feel like they're getting lowballed. Do you have any suggestions for how people in that particular space can operate and not feel like they're not getting their value out of the industry?
Do it and be true to yourself, because I am a product of that. There were so many people around me that did it, and I used to look at, some famous, fitness people. And I used to say, I can never get there. I don't have the money to record. I don't do that. A lot of the stuff that you see, I record on my cell phones. I record on my iPad. I do what I do. I love what I do. And I am a firm believer that my passion will come out to those people who hear me and know that they want to start from the beginning. Yes, am I challenging? Yes, am I accountable? I am, but I'm going to start you from the bottom up so that you can understand that you've got to build your foundation and you go up from there. And so I am, don't ever give up on your dreams because of what other people do. Go down the aisles of a grocery store. How many different loaves of bread do you see out there? There's Marita, there's Sunbeam, there's I don't even eat bread, so I don't even know. Nature's Own, right? There are tons of loaves out there. They're making the same type of bread out of the same flour, right? But they put a different name on it, and you see everybody says something different about it. Somebody likes it more than the other. And there's going to be somebody out here that likes you and loves what you do, as long as you stay true to yourself and you stay true to your brand. Once you do those 2 things and you give them that authentic you, then nobody can take away what you've established. But if you're trying to be like the next person and you trying to get out here and do things that are out of the scope of out of your lane, you're going to find that people are going to run from you more than they're going to come close. So, I'm going to tell you to go for it, because if I had stopped, I wouldn't have made the impact that I have on the many people and traveled where I have to influence the people, right? I think that that's a huge, huge deal for me, because I didn't expect for this to go anywhere. Where I am today It wasn't. This was only supposed to be a quick little money thing for me to get some money for me and my son, make sure we got a roof over our head. But I have written a book. I have spoken in 7 different countries around the world. I have spoken to over 10,000 people. I have been on numerous of podcasts, just such as this. You know, I have been in magazines, on the cover of magazines. I've been nominated for many awards. This was not supposed to be where I am, but I stayed true to me. And I listened to the people that were saying, Nesi, we need you. Nesi, I love what you do. I love who you are. I've got your back. And that is why I'm still here, because there are going to be people who don't like me. There are many, and that's fine. But I've got more that love me and rock with me hard. And so therefore, and I built that. A lot of these people I've never known. They're global. The lady from Ukraine, listen, I don't know anybody over there. But she found me on Instagram. And she loved just loved what I was doing. We had a conversation once, and we had a conversation twice, and then she was ready to invest in me and what I do. And she's still with me after a year. So you know, when we start looking at things and we start looking at where we want to go, you got to believe in yourself. Trust in who you are. Trust in that idea and that vision, and pour into it and go forward. Don't care about who doesn't support you now, because as long as you do what you got to do for you and your brand, your support will come.
Okay. So in closing, is there anything that you want to close off the audience on, some final thoughts that they can go ahead and walk away with?
Fitness is a journey. Fitness is a journey. Okay. And every year something's different. Something is going to be different about your journey every time. You know, you're going to change every single year. So that means that you need to change, you know, your fitness style, your fitness process. You're going to have to change every year. The thing about it is that you got to be consistent with that in order to maintain what it is that you're doing. Your body will always tell you how you feel and what it needs. Listen to it. Listen to it, right? Because it's just your body will give you what you need. And when you know you're not in good health, remember, your health is your wealth. And if you're lacking in on your health, you're going to notice that there's a lack in your monies too. And so just keep pushing at it. Every single day, every step that you make counts. So keep going.
Okay. So I really appreciate it. Appreciate everybody coming out. If you got any questions, hit us up in the comments and reach out to Coach. Make sure I pronounce this correctly. Coach Nesi.
Yes. Coach
Nesi at Trainer Nesi. You can find her on social media. And I want to really tell you to go ahead and reach out to and invest in your health, invest in your fitness as you go into this new year, because it is the most important thing. It's the only thing you cannot buy back with money. Right. So I tell people to really make that important, because you're going to get older. You can't get that back with money, but you can try to maintain your health as you get older, because you also cannot get back that money. And I'm somebody that worked in healthcare. I've seen a lot. You cannot buy your health back once you lose it. So you got to make sure that you protect it, and everything else normally start falling in place. So I appreciate everybody for coming out. This is David W. Williams, also known as Diamond Dave. I'll talk to you later.